everyone. Welcome to the Zone to Speak podcast. I'm your host, Juliana. Hey everyone. At Zone to Speak, I know how important it is to stay healthy, strong, and ready for every ride, workout, and adventure. That's why I'm sharing some amazing discounts on products I personally love, designed to support your health, performance, and overall well-being, whether you are an athlete or just looking to feel your best. Psych Plus, their smart pump is a game changer. Compact, efficient, and perfect for keeping your tires road and gravel ready. It's ideal for travel too. You can take it on trips and skip the CO2 canisters. You can even change your tire pressure on the go when switching between surfaces like road and gravel. Get 10% off the smart pump and 5% off everything else. 15% off New Zest. Fuel your body with clean, plant-based nutrition. Their clean, lean protein provides a high-quality, easily digestible protein source with no additional additives, perfect for recovery and sustained energy. Plus, their Good Green Vitality is packed with essential vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants to support your immune system and overall wellness. 15% off Oleos. Oleos offers powerful wellness shots made with adaptogens, nootropics, and functional nutrients to support performance, focus, and recovery. I'll be using Oleos daily in the lead up to my next race, and I have already got my pre- and post-ride shots ready for my long weekend rides. If you are looking for a clean, effective boost, Oleos is it. Use code ZONE2SPEAK15 to save 15%. 20% off First Endurance. Top-tier endurance nutrition designed to support hydration, recovery, and sustained energy for long days on the bike and any endurance activity. 15% off Frey Skincare, made for active lifestyles. Designed for skin that sweats, their all-natural, vegan, and cruelty-free products keep your skin protected and fresh. I have been using Frey for about 10 years and my skin stays young and has never had a breakout since. 10% off Cold Aid, high-quality supplements to support your health, from multivitamins to probiotics, collagen, and more. I personally take the women's fermented multivitamin and creatine, and I genuinely feel great with them. No nausea, just steady energy and support for recovery and daily health. 10% off Clearly Not Coffee, a delicious coffee alternative from functional ingredients like mushrooms, cocoa, maca, cinnamon, and rhodiola, designed to give you calmer energy, sharper focus, and immune support. Honestly, I can't live without it anymore. It's been such a boost for my energy levels and has helped me navigate perimenopause with more balance and ease. 15% off Ombre Supplements, premium supplements to support your training, recovery, and everyday health. And there's something special from me, your host. As a certified integrative health and nutrition expert and holistic life coach, I'm offering 25% off personalized nutrition and life coaching with Genki Wellness. If you want to optimize your health, improve your energy, and feel your best, head to bemoregenki.com. For all discounts, check out the episode description, use code ZONE2SPEAK at checkout, and let these incredible products support your health and performance. Now, let's get into the episode. In this episode, I am joined by the incredible Elle Linton, a fitness professional, writer, content creator, and passionate cycling advocate who is changing the game when it comes to representation and joy in movement. You probably know her from her vibrant presence online or her platform, Keep It Simple, spelled simpElle, her name, where she shares honest and empowering content around fitness, cycling, wellness, and life. Elle's energy is contagious, whether she's leading rides, testing new gear, or using her voice to amplify the importance of inclusion in sport and fitness. I have loved following her and couldn't wait to sit down and chat about everything from finding her flow in movement to navigating the content world with authenticity. So let's get into it. Elle, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much, Juliana. I love listening to those intros. And I have to steal them for when I introduce myself at other places.
Sounds great. Yeah. So, can you tell me a little bit about your background and how your journey to fitness and cycling began?
So, I'm not sure how much time we have. It might be quite a long story. But I think when I was younger, when I was a kid, I was very active. I was very sporty. I did all of the traditional sports, I'd say, because I guess that's where I was funneled into. So I did a lot of athletics, a lot of sprinting. I did everything, netball, rowing, you name it. I was lucky enough to get to try it. Um, However, when I got to secondary school, so I like my teenage years and I came on my period, I had lots of issues with painful periods and my flow. And it meant that once a month I was off school sometimes. I was having issues with whiteouts, I'd call them, kind of like blackouts, but everything would go bright white. So
Wow.
really like I struggled to enjoy movement because of all of those things that were going on. Um, but then I made it through secondary school. I decided that I wanted to study sports science at university because I loved sport and I loved science and I also did love drama, but I couldn't do all three. So the best option was to do two. So I did sports science at university. And I'd say that even then, I probably wasn't particularly active, which might sound crazy, but I used to drive to uni, which was a mile away, and
Wow.
only
It
really,
is hard to believe.
yeah, and only really move when I had to, um, because I hadn't found what really lit me up movement wise. And then I think I really found my thing when I started working. I must have been in my mid-20s. I was working with a girl who she was like, let's go and run. And I was like, run? How far? She was like, 5K. And I'm like, I've only ever run 100 meters. I don't know if I 5K. I tried it and we did it. And we love talking about all the nutritional stuff around it. But I will caveat and say that at that age, I was very entrenched in diet culture, not knowing what diet culture was, but it did spark my interest in more than just traditional sports. So it became a social thing. It became fueling my body to be active. It became learning about my body and finding all these different things that I could do. And she took me to a burlesque class and she took me to all these runs and we did all these things that I never knew existed outside of what you did in school, which was like netball and gymnastics. So yeah, that's how I got into it.
Yeah, and you had the period where you mentioned where you were struggling because you had to take time off because of your physical pain, and that probably also was a turnoff, maybe even subconsciously, and that's why you never got back to it. So I'm glad you went on this 5K with your friend and opened up so many
Yeah,
other possibilities for you.
yeah, because so many girls drop out at the age that I did, but then they never find their way back. So I'm grateful that I did, and that's probably something that I would want to advocate for, like young women learning about their bodies so that they can find ways to move to that work for them rather than what we were forced to do.
Yeah, that's so important. And I have a teenage daughter, and I know they do go through all these changes, and it's not easy to navigate. So it's good to have role models for sure.
Yeah. I think one thing I do love now is that there is so much more information around and available. So I'm glad that young women get that information and they can use that to find themselves as opposed to when I was younger and it really was very, very limited. You didn't even talk about periods. Like who everyone would probably scream at the fact that I said that 20 years
Yeah.
ago on the
Yeah, I
podcast.
can't say the P word, God forbid. And speaking of having more information out there, what inspired you to start the Keep It Simple, Keep It simpElle, and how has evolved over the years?
So I started my blog in 2012, and it really was around the time of the Olympics, the London Olympics, I should specify. There was so much going on in London. I literally couldn't keep up. I was working with Nike at the time as one of their trainers. They had so many new runs and half marathons going on. I was taking on my first half marathon after my first 10K, which was after that 5K. And there were so many classes happening and events. And I got so fed up of repeating myself when everyone was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" Or "What was that event?" I was like, I'm just going to start a blog and I'm going to write it down. And then anytime anyone says, I can be like, just read my blog. So that was my mantra for 2012. Read my blog if you wanted to know what I was doing. And that's how it started. And it really was just kind of like an online diary. I would share what I had for lunch that day or my lunchtime run. And then as time progressed and it became an outlet for me when I changed jobs, it really was the only thing that was consistent in my life. And I'd say it still is the most consistent thing I've had for the last 12 or 13 years. And I got opportunities from it. It was just a way to reach people. Like I had connections all the way in the States, all over the world. It was mad that you could have friends all over the world that you could resonate with, if that makes sense. So it was that sense of community for sure, 100% the sense of community and finding people that understood and related to what you were going through at that time.
Absolutely. That's one of the things I love. When some people say, oh, the internet, this social media is not good, it is good. There's so much wonderful things out there. There's bad. Just a matter of how you use it.
100%, I agree with that.
So you mentioned you were coaching for Nike at that time. I know you have many hats: coach, creator, writer. How do you navigate all of these roles? What are you up to these days?
That's a good question. I feel like I end up wearing all these hats because I find something that I want to do, and then I realize that there's no one like me in that space. There's no one providing what I need. So then the answer, to me, the logical answer is to create that. So that's how I became a cycling coach, a cyclocross coach, which is very specific and niche, a leadership in running fitness coach. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a group exercise instructor. I do like bits of marketing on the side. There's nothing that I won't try my hands at. Like I love learning and I love sharing that learning. And I think through all of the hats that I have chosen to put on, that's what I get to do. And that's what really I'm passionate about.
I love that. You're not turning away. You're like, okay, I need to be more vocal about this or represent in this space.
Yeah. I don't think everyone needs to do it and everyone's not comfortable doing it. But as I am and when I am, I'll do it. Like, if I enjoy it, I'll do it for sure.
And what drew you to the bike? Was there a specific moment when you felt, oh, I like this. This could be my thing?
I think when I was a kid, I rode my bike everywhere. Like I knew every single road and road name in like a 5 mile area of where I lived. It literally was my sense of freedom. And once I started to get older, again, hitting those teenage years, like it wasn't so cool to ride a bike. No one that I knew rode a bike as a young adult or a teen. So I figured that was that. There was no more bike riding for me. And then when I got to about my probably late 20s, maybe even 30ish, early 30s, I started commuting to work on a bike because I'd be sitting on a bus and watch all these cyclists ride past while we're stuck in traffic. And it didn't make sense. I figured that I could ride or even run faster than getting public. So I got my first adult bike and started commuting. Then I worked with a friend called Elle Linton, and one day she asked if I wanted to go to Richmond Park to ride, and I was like, "Why would I do that?" She's like, "Yeah, let's do some laps," and I was like, "Why?" She said, "Stop for cake and coffee," and I was like, "Okay."
Now you're talking my language.
And coffee, hell yeah. Don't have to ask me twice. So we did that, and then she was like, "Oh, let's go and try track cycling." I had never seen an indoor like cycling track. Like it was completely alien to me. I tried it, I hated it. I've never done it again. And then I tried BMX and I tried cyclocross, and I think it was just a world that you really need to have someone who's in that world for you to know that it exists. And I was lucky enough to have that friend who opened that door for me. Um, and yeah, I loved again the social side, the community, meeting people, hearing their stories. I love hearing people's stories and like where they've come from, where they want to go. And I think from all of that, I decided I wanted to ride to Paris. I have no idea why, but everyone was riding to Paris in 24 hours, and it didn't make sense to me. I wanted to ride to Paris, enjoy it, have time to look up from my handlebars and see the view. So I recruited a few friends, and we decided we'd train for that in 2017, and we did it. We bike packed. We stayed in hotels because I'm not going to lie, I'm not really the wild camping type of person. We did it our way. We had the best time.
I'm team hotel as well. I mean, I love camping, but it can't be for a block of too many days. It's too
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, that was like the spark for road cycling, and then it just became something that I wanted to try more ways of cycling and seeing more places, and it felt so amazing that you could power yourself to get from one country to another literally, and it's like my two legs did that. So that really was what got me hooked.
Incredible. I love it. I'm also a big fan of, I mean, I totally get the mindset of pushing hard, pushing your limits, but I really, really love enjoying it as well. I think we're still pushing ourselves, like
Right.
riding all day, staying at a hotel, still a push. Uh, but it's nice to quote unquote take it easy. If I want to stop here and have coffee here, or if I want to, spend the night at this spot because this place is beautiful, why not? I don't need to get to the destination right away.
Right. We literally made a deal. We were like, we're not going faster than an average speed of 12 miles per hour. We need to make it to our hotel by like late afternoon so that we can sit down, enjoy dinner, have a good night's
Take it
sleep.
all in.
Yeah, like what's the point if you're in France and you can't even stop and have a good dinner and a drink
I agree. I agree.
and a late start? Not starting before 9 a.m.
I see we're going to go on a trip together soon.
You're my people. You're my
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. You have been vocal about representation and inclusivity in cycling. What progress have you seen, and what do we still need to work on?
That's a tough question, you know. I think that
Yeah.
there are always there are always like changes happening, but sometimes you also get steps backwards. And I feel like as the generations come up, there will be more change, but changing people who already are in a mindset is really difficult. Um, and some people aren't willing to even open their mind and understand. They're just seeing their own point of view. Um, and I think that's how change happens. It's not linear. You take a few steps forward, you take a step backwards. But I think it is happening. It's slow, but it is happening. And as someone who's come from the running community, I feel like the running community was always 10 years ahead of cycling. So I feel like that was a roadmap to know where cycling was going to go. And ironically, I would say that running actually has taken quite a big leap backwards, which is fascinating to watch. So it's interesting to know if cycling will do that too, because running somehow has become so performance based now. Everyone thinks that running slow and you're running a chatty pace and slow if you're running 6 minutes a kilometer. And it's so interesting to see. So I'm curious to know if cycling will go back that way, because obviously it was mostly just a performance based thing that, top athletes did. And now we're pushing for bike packing and slow bike packing and all of these things that are more inclusive, and we don't even need to know how long it took or how fast we went. So will that continue, or will we also take a big leap back in the near future? That's gonna be one to watch.
Yeah, hopefully not taking 10 steps, 10 years backwards. Is there anything that you believe the cycling industry could do better when it comes to supporting underrepresented riders? I know, for example, I'll be on, so I'll give a shout out because I know of this. Maybe I don't know of other brands, and maybe other brands are also doing this, but I know I'll be on, it's big on ultra racing and bike packing. So they have annually bike packing. I think it's called, I don't know if it's called Bike Packing Academy, but the point is they do pick a few riders that are underrepresented and teach them all the ropes and give them all the gear. They are obviously side closing, so they give side closing, and I think they partner with some other brands for like the bike bags and things like that. So that's really cool. But it's just one brand. I mean,
Yeah.
with partnership with other brands, but I don't know if you have any ideas or know of any other brands that are doing
So
things to impact.
I think they might be a part of the ultra distance scholarship. Is that
Exactly. That's it. Thank
yes,
you.
yes. And I I love the work that they've done. I've even got a very good friend who went through the program. And I think that when it comes to brands and events, the first step is acknowledging that, we can all do better. And I'm speaking even on an individual level. There's always something that we can do. There's always something that we can learn.
Yeah.
There's always questions that we can ask, and there's always work that we can do. So I absolutely love what the Ultra Distance Scholarship have done. And I know the hard work that goes into that. And I think that maybe sometimes, you know, brands want to do something, but they want to do something that's easy. And something that easy isn't always the thing that is right or good for what you're trying to do. But I think talking more to the people that are involved, because for me, representation and diversity, it's not just race. I'm talking gender, I'm talking body size and shape, like just the plethora of things that make up someone's identity and holds them back from being a part of the cycling world. So yeah, that's another hard question. But I definitely think that I did. I can't even remember now. That I worked on a project. It was a questionnaire. I think ultra cycling is doing the best
Yeah.
in terms of speaking to the community. Like
Agree.
other disciplines can learn from what ultra cycling are doing, because they've been consistently year after year putting in the work, not quitting no matter how hard it gets, and speaking to everyone. And my memory fails me, that's age. I worked on a project where we did this questionnaire all about, asking people in the ultra world and cycling world, like what are your barriers? Because we can't just decide what the barriers are. Even myself as a Black woman, like I only really know what my barriers are, and I'm still not the same as another Black woman. And do you know what I mean? So you really,
Absolutely. It's not good to make assumptions.
yeah.
So that's really good.
So it's about, yeah, you have to ask and find out those things. And I'm in communities like the Women of Colour Cycling Collective, and there were things that I didn't even think about, like say Muslim women don't drink, and sometimes on rides people stop at pubs, and it's like, that that's not a setting that's inclusive for everybody. So it's just thinking about those little things that we can all think about on an individual level, all the way up to brands, events, and the people who are doing the things and have the money.
Well, that's a great initiative, the questionnaire. I like that idea to listen, to know, because sometimes we are doing it, like you said, you're doing it, but you might not have full clarity because you can't. It's impossible to know everyone's barriers.
And also, what I'd say is, if you are involved in an event or something that's happening in the cycling world, like, don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to say, hey, at this race, are there going to be sanitary products for women? Are there going to be spaces where women can change and, be separated? Whatever someone might need. Are the drinks after, when events, they're like, oh, finish and you get a free pint of beer. It's like, what about those people? Like, I don't even drink anymore. What about people that don't want a pint of beer and all of those kind of things? Like, don't be afraid to be the person that says, hey, I'm signed up to your event, but I'd really love to know like what you're doing to ensure that people have less barriers to be able to join in.
I completely agree. And also, if you can, I think a lot of organizers are willing to listen and also are willing to accept help. So
Yeah,
if you know what can be done, I think organizers are willing to listen and to get your help
yeah,
from the few people that I have been talking to. I know they want to, and
yeah,
like be more inclusive of women, be more inclusive of gender. But how do we do this? How can we get them in? It's easy to just, I mean, it's not easy, but maybe low hanging fruit to say, oh, women can get 10% off or something. But what
yeah,
else can be done?
yeah. That's exactly what I was saying about you can do things that are easy like that, but you really have to ask yourself the hard questions. If you've got your event and only 5% of participants are women, you really have to ask yourself first why that is, and then dive deeper and do something that's really going to make a change. Like, I don't want a pink t-shirt and a glass of rosé for entering an event as a woman. In case anyone's done that, that was not specifically any event. Catch that on your list.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, some people might love pink, but it's not gender specific, it's
Don't get me wrong.
yeah, me too, but yeah. How about your online presence? I mean, you have such a refreshing voice. You're real, you're honest. There's no BS. It's kind of a silly question because, like, how do you maintain authenticity? I mean, you're just being you, but
The thing I can answer that though. I did some work in my 20s all around like personal development, and part of that was learning about my core values. And it was a whole day of exercising, as in like doing exercises, not movement. And I figured out that some of my core values are things like loyalty and honesty. And when I'm in a situation that tests those values, I can't stay in a situation where like I can't stay true to those values. And that basically is how I have to live my life, because that's the happiest way I can live my life. So I've said before, I think speaking the truth is both a weakness and a strength, because it gets me in a lot of trouble because not everyone can handle the truth. But at the same time, like, I also can't handle not sharing the truth. Like, it just weighs on me and it makes me very unhappy internally, which I think maybe some people won't understand, but I think that it then manifests in ill health and all these things that you don't want. It manifests physically. So I just have to not have it inside of my head or my heart.
well, it comes across. I can tell, your presence online, it's really authentic and your authentic self, like I said in the beginning, it's pure joy. And um, I really, really enjoy following you. It's contagious for sure. And I like what you said about the core values, because I believe it's really true. Once you know your core values, what you stand for and what you want, it's easier to navigate life, even in tough situations.
Yes, 100%. It really does. It really does help like illuminate your path because it's
Yep.
easier to make decisions based on that. And I think it also goes back to like having your goals and all of those things mapped out. And then if something is put on your plate, I say to myself, is this going to take me a step closer to where I want to be? If it's a no, then that's easy. I'm like, this is
Done.
me. If it's a yes, I'm like, grab it with both hands, let's run.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. And what has been your most rewarding or surprising moment for sharing your journey so publicly?
Oh, that's another tough question.
I don't mean to be tough.
No, I like it. I like it. It's challenging. I think that the type of person that I am an only child. I always feel like I never quite fitted in. So it's kind of like surprising when people tell me that what I share resonates with them. And I think that I've never had that big story where, you know, something really awful has happened to me and then I can share that change, that big change. I've never had that. But at the same time, I'm so grateful to have had a quote unquote, I guess, smooth transition through life, albeit with its ups and downs. And I think I'm always like surprised that people do resonate with my journey and share the same experience. And I think it just makes us all feel a little less alone sometimes because I'm not sure if anyone's truly experienced loneliness, but you can be surrounded by 1,000 people and still feel lonely. But having that connection, and I feel like that's kind of what I've learned is one of my superpowers. Like, I haven't met a person yet that I can't connect with in some way, that I can't find a similarity with. And I think if we really do always look for the similarities rather than the differences, it will just be a much more positive place for us all. So yeah, I love the surprise of finding that connection when I share my story, when I share something that I've been through, and just yeah, connecting with more people and making the world a smaller place.
Yeah, I bet. I bet it feels really good. Um, I definitely was happy when I found you, you know. I'm gonna say it again. It just felt, it just can help smiling. Even when it's not movement or happiness and joy that you're sharing. Remember, you were also sharing when you are moving, going through your empty apartment and all the DIYs that you are doing it. Your frustrations, even your frustrations are fun.
Right? Do you know what? One thing I've learned is that although like we all come together initially for the movement, at the end of the day, we're all human and we still have lives outside of movement. And that's just like another way to connect and another way
Yeah, it
to,
makes you even more real. Like,
right?
okay, yeah.
And I'm like, if I have to go through a 16-month terrible house move, you can come with me.
Love it. Where can people find you? And are you still doing the blog?
Yeah, I haven't been so active on my blog because I've been marathon training and swimming and teaching indoor classes, and life has been crazy. But my blog is definitely still there. Now that I've finished with London Marathon, I'll be back on that, spewing everything out that's in my head. And I really don't think there's any way you can't find me, to be honest.
That's true.
I'm on Facebook. I'm even on TikTok. I'm on Pinterest. I'm on Instagram, of course. Where else? I'm like, where else is there?
I will share all the links on the episode description.
I'm everywhere. I feel like every platform has place, you know.
I agree. Yeah.
There's just different ways of communicating and connecting on different platforms. So
Yeah.
it's
Different
nice to,
inspirations as
yeah,
well.
for sure.
Yeah. Um, what's your go-to pre-ride snack, or do you have any pre-ride rituals?
My go-to pre-ride snack would probably be, I'd say, overnight oats. I love making overnight oats because I feel like I don't like getting up early. So I want to get up as close to the time I leave the house as possible. So I can prep my breakfast the night before and know that I have a good, tasty breakfast ready for me to just grab out of the fridge. So definitely overnight oats and a coffee. I've become a coffee connoisseur since we were stuck indoors in the pandemic. So now I have a nice coffee machine and I love making it at home, my first one.
Nice, nice. Favorite ride route or location that always puts you in a good mood?
Ooh, I would say I love riding in Epping Forest. I live less than 5 kilometers away from it, and I really don't go there as much as I should. But I love going and discovering new parts of it, sharing that with other people, getting to be in nature. I don't think there's any other better place you can be and learning about nature. So yeah, Epping Forest, bit of gravel.
And from here is where you're in London,
I'm in Essex, so I'm,
Essex. Okay.
yeah, just outside of London, northeast of London, by the forest.
Is there any piece of gear that you can't live without that you swear by?
Oh, yes. I think I'd have to say my entire quad lock system. They have taken over my life. They're in every single part of my life, from like lifestyle, just day to day, to cycling. There's nothing that quad lock can't do.
Awesome. How about favorite playlist or peace and quiet when you're writing solo? What do you prefer?
Oh,
Or maybe a podcast or audiobook?
when I'm riding solo, I very rarely ever ride solo. And I don't tend to listen to anything if I ride solo. I just get in my head, which is not the
Peace and
best
quiet.
way. Yeah. But it's a good time to think through some things. Same as when you're running, right? Get some
Yeah.
mental clarity.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I like a mix of everything depending on how many hours I have on the bike. Yeah, and sometimes if I'm with a group, or I mean, I usually don't do groups, but with a couple of friends or my husband, um, I do carry my headset with me in case there is a big climb and
Yeah.
I need some motivation, because usually on the climbs everyone goes their own pace.
Yeah. That's the kind of group I like.
Yeah.
And I've got a speaker that goes in my bottle cage. So if
Oh
it's going to be
wow.
a ride, I can party.
I love it. And what's next for you? Anything exciting you have got coming up? I know you finished the London Marathon. Congratulations. That's a major one.
That's a really major one. I cannot
What's
tell you how happy I am that that is done.
so what's next?
Next, I want to get back on my bike outdoors, especially as we've got some good weather here in the UK. Cannot wait. Lots of gravel adventures. That's what I want. And I also want to swim some more because I don't know if you know about the London Classics medal. Do you?
No, tell me.
So
Educate me.
the London Classics medal is like the size of your head. I'm not even exaggerating. And you get it for completing Ride London 100 miles, which I've done, London Marathon, which I've now done, and then Swim Serpentine, which is 2 mile swim. So it's like a big triathlon. And once you've done those three events, you get this extra medal at no cost other than the cost of doing those events to
Wow.
celebrate the achievement. And it doesn't matter if you've done the event like 20 years ago, you can take as long as you need. So that's Swim
Really?
Serpentine.
Wow. Awesome. I know there is a Swedish classic, which is something similar, swim, bike, run, different events, but you
Ah,
have to do through within a year. You have to do within a year.
Oh, no, we have like till infinity and beyond.
Wow. That's really cool.
I need to.
So you're going for it.
Yeah. Although my swimming is my weakest discipline. So I've been taking lessons again. I'm gonna actually do the work outside of the lessons, and that's my big goal outside of the London Marathon.
Never stopping. I love it.
Never stopping.
Oh, I could talk to you forever. This has been lovely. I wish I could give you a hug.
Right, we need to arrange a very slow ride with cake and coffee.
Let's do that. Let's do that. I will be in London in June. I'm in the UK. I'll be in London. My brother lives there, but then I'm doing the Stone Circle gravel race. So maybe we can try to arrange to meet up
I don't
somehow.
even know what that is. Is it flat?
I'll send you the details. You know what? I haven't even seen it, how much we climb, but sometimes it's best to go blind.
I love a short and flat event.
But it should be beautiful. So it's around Stonehenge area.
That's amazing. I've never actually been to Stonehenge.
Oh, so I think you need to sign up.
Right? It's fine.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. We'll be in touch and hopefully we can meet this summer.
Yes, amazing. That would be amazing.
And that's all for today's episode. I want to thank the listeners for tuning in. Your support means everything. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider following, leaving a review, and sharing it with your friends.